Okay, good morning everyone, and beginning day 8 of our 9 days of Dhamma, and I must say it's been, from my perspective, I've really enjoyed these days of Dhamma, and great source of kind of well-being, happiness, and beginning our day of meditation and turning our attention to settling the mind, you return to the important theme of suffering. So that dukkha and the ending of dukkha. It's just so important to. I mean, it might seem a bit of a paradox that one can experience happiness and well-being, but then one also directs attention consciously to the experience of say stress or difficulty or discontent, dissatisfaction, dis-ease, dukkha. But I think it's one of the, to me, it's one of the reasons why it opens up the possibilities of kind of real happiness when we are willing to see clearly the limitation that we do have within this human form, within this human realm. And that we are willing to skillfully investigate the nature of our experience, because the habit, the tendency is to is either to just try to escape from any kind of difficulty, or blame it on something else, somebody else, something else, and the and the way that the Buddha laid out his teaching, particularly of the Four Noble Truths, is to be willing to establish clear awareness, a reflective investigation of this whole realm of our experience, and the aspect of the Four Noble Truths are also structured in a way that there is there's the truth of whichever aspect of those Four Noble Truths, but then there is the appropriate response or the appropriate duty towards it, so that, say, dukkha, suffering, unsatisfactoriness, is to be understood. It's to be understood, it's to be known completely. It's to be known clearly. And so that we, again, the sense of turning attention, rather than a kind of knee-jerk response, get out of this, run away, uh, blame, or find some kind of distraction, but to know it clearly, to direct attention to what this experience is. And this is also where the Buddha's structuring of these Four Noble Truths is actually modeled on ancient Indian kind of medical diagnosis, and or how one treats treats disease. One has to know the symptoms, and then one has to deal with those symptoms. And then there's what's the prognosis? And then there's a course of treatment. So that there's dukkha as a symptom of dis-ease. And so that is to be known. If you don't know the symptoms very clearly, or you can't describe them to a doctor, then, or you kind of, doctor sort of is, you go to the doctor's office and you say, well, what's wrong? He says, nothing, I'm fine. I mean, it's not very useful. It's not going to get you very far. Well, it will get you far. It'll get you closer to a hospital or closer to death, but it's not going to get you well. So that to be able to look clearly at that sense of what is this experience of dukkha, so that to know it clearly. The cause of dukkha is to be the cause of dukkha is to be abandoned. That is to be let go of. In the same way of some kind of whatever illness there is, then if there's a particular cause to it, then one has to step back from that, or one has to recognize it clearly and to avoid it in order to regain one's health and well-being. And so that, and the Buddha points to different forms of desire as the cause of dukkha. Sensual desire, desire for being, becoming, desire for non-being, pushing away, rejecting, not wanting. Those are these different movements of desire within the mind, and to be able to let go of those, to relinquish, to abandon, and that is an important course of action, appropriate response, so that as we recognize the symptoms, and we can be letting go of abandoning those various causes, and then the prognosis is that from the Buddhist perspective, in terms of dukkha, unsatisfactoriness, dis-ease, distress, that it can be completely overcome. It can be come to one can experience a complete cessation of dukkha, and that is absolutely the good news. and to be able to, again, the response, the appropriate response is to realize the cessation of dukkha, to make it real, to experience it directly, this cessation of dukkha, to realize it, to enter into it and abide in the cessation of dukkha, the ending of dukkha. And path leading to cessation of dukkha. There is a path, a practice that the Buddha lays out of virtue, of meditation, of wisdom and understanding, and that is to be developed. That's to be cultivated. And so these Four Noble Truths are it's like a clear analysis of the situation and a way of relating to it and responding to it, so that we can experience well-being, happiness, peace, freedom, liberation. Those are all possible within the human condition, if we direct our attention appropriately, or respond appropriately to the situation. And so that cultivation of wisdom and discernment, the cultivation of mindfulness and attention, that development of virtue and integrity, that path, all of those factors of the path. What's really interesting, of course, from the perspective of, the Buddha is quite clear. Doesn't beat around the bush, doesn't sort of sugarcoat anything, and says, yeah, there is dukkha. And there is this cause for experience of discontent, dis-ease within the human condition. That is something very, very real, but it can be understood. The causes of it can be abandoned. The cessation of it can be realized. The path leading to cessation can be cultivated and developed. And not only that, every factor of that Eightfold Path, every factor of the cultivation and development is actually a source of well-being and happiness. The cultivation of skillful action in body and speech, establishing ourselves in virtue and integrity, there's a source of well-being and happiness. The developing of mindfulness and ability to direct our efforts skillfully, the ability to settle and compose the mind in a steady way. It's all accompanied with happiness and well-being. The aspects of view, understanding, being able to see things in their true nature, is a source of this incredible joy, delight, happiness. Finally seeing things in their true nature is accompanied by happiness. So it's like the Buddha the Buddha's willingness to point very directly, give us the tools of practice, of training, in a very unobscured and direct way, gives us the opportunity to developing the path is accompanied by well-being. It just is a natural part of that, and so that is one of the things that's really, to me, quite striking when I was first studying with Ajahn Chah and other forest masters, that their demeanor and they're very serious practitioners, but their affect was one of tremendous happiness and kind of unshakable ease within whatever situation they were in. That is tremendously inspiring. So to pick up these Four Noble Truths and explore them in a way that really nurtures this sense of ease and clarity. And not picking it up just as an intellectual concept, but just to this simple level of, as we breathe in, as we breathe out, what are we experiencing? How to direct attention in an easeful manner, and pick up these Four Noble Truths as a tool that will inform our day-to-day life, inform our meditative life. So we can take this opportunity to sit quietly and just composing, settling, exploring, investigating.